Hello there. Excuse me. I hope everybody can hear me. And thank you so much for the kind words, Celestial. I really appreciate it. Let me bring the music down a little bit. And that way you guys can hear me and I can hear me. She's a spirited person, I believe, beholder of nature, descendant of dreamer of wonder. She is, excuse my imagination. No, I think that's very nice. She is very much, and beholder of nature is an interesting one because she loves nature. She is very, we have so many plants in the home and so many animals and so many, she loves all of that. And I love to share that with her, but sadly she's very global and very free and free-spirited, and I'm a little bit more analytical and somewhat data-orientated, though that doesn't necessarily mean that philosophy is out the window. In fact, I enjoy that quite a bit. Let me. I hope you guys can hear me okay. Let's see if I'm hitting the right levels. It looks like on this side I seem to be hitting the levels okay. Life is beautiful. I am guided by my impressions. No, I think that's a phenomenon. To look inwardly and to be able to listen to that and to understand and interpret that, and then to be able to communicate those interpretations is a skill set that most people don't have. Even data orientation follows that same suit. The ability to articulate something that's such an abstract concept and put it into concise terms, and then convey concise terms to another person, within which those concise terms can be retranslated into another ethereal or abstract concept, is nearly an impossible venture, and yet you seem to do it incredibly well. Hey, you should watch with them cards, man. Don't get caught. Of course. Video Games for Fun says, hello, and I can hear you. I'll join the chat more shortly. I'm just waking up and looking at... Oh, of course. I appreciate you for being here, Viddy. It's always astonishing to me how drastic the time difference is with you. It's not that there isn't a great time difference for some of my other friends and viewers, but yours seems to be the most extreme. I'll go ahead and I'll move over for anybody who happened to have been Celeste, oh, thank you very much. Um, but so for anybody who happened to be watching, if you haven't had the opportunity to and you're interested in watching this game is a little bit more involved dialogue wise, and so it's a difficult game to stream for a lot. But in my case, I'm kind of just giving the blurb of what's going on and then just going through it, just because this is fun and kind of decompressing for me, and hopefully for you guys as well. Maybe this is something of a catharsis. Um, But this is my favorite game of all time. And if anybody, since Viddy's here too, so I should mention that. If anybody's had an opportunity, or has not had an opportunity rather yet, to go check out Viddy's showcase, he did a phenomenal job. It's a three-parter so far. I don't know if there's anything else coming to it. It looked like that the third part was final. I took a look at the end. There was a nice long credits roll and some stuff as well. So, but I've gotten to watch it. It involves a lot of great people, including but not limited to Mr. Viddy himself. And he was kind enough to allow me to tell my story about this game in part 3, I think, actually, believe it or not. So if anyone's interested in why this has such a sentimental value in addition to its already phenomenal technical value, feel free to give him a watch and give that a listen. But don't just listen to it for me. He has so many great things going on there. It's amazing. I am eternally grateful to Viddy. I'm not. I wouldn't question. I don't know if it's for the same reason that many of us are grateful for Viddy, but and to Viddy, but I wouldn't be surprised. He seems like a great guy, as do you, of course, as do you. So many good people in this community. Another thing too, and I apologize if I'm rambling before the game, but I do enjoy getting to talk. I mean, the big part of getting to stream was getting to interact with the community and you guys, and being a part of that. I think it's great, but especially this particular community. I didn't start the channel, and I think I've said this before. I've never started the channel, or nor have I continued it, hoping for a number of subscribers or a number of follows or a number of, I just upload what games kind of I thought were interesting or made me happy or and people have been kind enough to come back and say hi. And I've met some really great, kind, giving, intelligent people, and I'm really appreciative of that. And I've lost a couple of people along the way as well, and I'm sorry that things happened in the way that they did. But at the same time, it's the community has, I would say, completely on the whole, even those who with whom we've had to part ways for creative differences. I think everybody has been absolutely fantastic. So. It says, let's see. Thank you all so much. I've had a few tech issues and been feeling a bit down in recent days, probably an aftermath of so much video work, but soon I will be fully recovered. You all mean a lot to me. Viddy, you've done a phenomenal ton for us in terms of just uniting us giving us a common goal, a project, something to do, something to share. We definitely appreciate it. And of course, I know it's difficult because of the geographic differences between us, but if there's anything that we can do, or that I don't want to volunteer anybody else but myself, if there's anything that I can do, any work that you want to send to me that I could do that might make things easier even, please let me know. I'd be happy to, because you certainly, it's very evident, having seen those showcases, you put a ton of work into it, so, yeah. I'm going to switch over really quickly so I can see the chat in a way that'll offer me a slight bit more autonomy. And I'll bend that. Thank you for the oh, of course. I speak from meaning, though, not from. If my words seem flowery, then forgive my lexicon, but the intent behind them is certainly concise. So I want to try this and just see if it works. It may not. Well, thank you very much. I very much appreciate that. All right, I will go ahead. I did make a bit of a mistake, so let me fix that. Let me rectify that really quickly. And switch it over to retro games so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. I hadn't done anything just yet. as a side note. So what we had done when I left off, if anybody is familiar with this or has watched the other one, I'm mesmerized by the both of you. That's very kind. Let me see if this will allow me. I'm trying to. I have a thing here that's holding my mobile device, and my mobile device has my chat in a more comfortable place than my previous. But that's very kind of you to say. I really appreciate that. Please forgive that the full recovery of my voice is not yet at hand. I still am a little growly and grumbly, and my voice is hopefully more radio voice, but still. But anyway, for any of you who have watched the previous ones of this, I've gone to, I believe so far, I've only gone to one planet, which was Kashyyyk, and we went ahead and recovered the Baka's blade and all of that good stuff, and then we came here to Manan, and all of this is not canon. I think this is a little bit more relevant though now because of and please let me know, I hope you guys can hear the game audio okay, it's got a good balance. It's nothing particularly loud going on right now. But I think that this might be a smidge more relevant than it was when I had started playing it because of the remake that was announced on the Sony showcase, on the PlayStation 5 showcase specifically. And what we were supposed to have been doing in this was to try and... Let's do this really quick. This game must have so much depth. It is, especially for its times. This was a 2002 launch. It was certainly more in depth than traditional games of that time. The only games that I could think that would rival, personally, the only games I could think of that would rival this one in terms of depth would be. Oh, I guess that didn't exist then either. I don't know if there was a 2002 game that I could say. I honestly think something more along the lines of an early PC game like a Baldur's Gate, but even still, this predates most of the more complex ones. So what we were doing in this case, is this is one of the random encounters that occur, and Jolie's friend here is, Sunri is his name, has been put into jail because of the murder of a Sith woman. He is his friend Sunri is a ex-Republic soldier, a Republic War veteran, awarded medals, and she was found dead, and we've discovered that they were having an affair. We don't know yet whether or not, and I'm saying I've played this game several times, so I do have an idea of what's going on, but so as not to spoil anything, we don't know yet whether or not he was truly guilty of the murder. We do know that he is. We did in episode 5 show or speak with him and get a confession that he was guilty of the affair. I may play it one day instead of Mass Effect. Mass Effect is a good choice though too. The Mass Effect trilogy on the whole I don't think is a remarkable, I mean I think it's a fairly, I feel like it's decent. 1 is really good, 2 is amazing, and then 3 is kind of lackluster in my opinion, but it's not bad. I know Metroid Prime was released in 2001, and Metroid Prime is a great game. I guess I was looking in terms of story depth, but that's a good comparison in terms of... And Metroid Prime does have a deep story, but it does play a little bit more like a puzzle shooter. I don't know, maybe that's the case. This game, I don't know. Metroid Prime was released in 2003 in Australia and still remains my favorite game to this day. In 2002. No worries. Yeah, Metroid Prime is still a phenomenal game. This is my favorite game strictly because of the depth of it, and yet again, like I said, there's a personal story behind it as well. But at the same time, I mean, Metroid Prime is you can't go wrong with that. Mass Effect you can't either. I did buy the new remaster trilogy, and I don't regret that at all. Oh, I need to go back and speak with the judges. I need to know, so the thing about it right now is, even though we got the why are we getting the confession and such? Well, we've agreed to be the arbiter for Sunny's trial. Now, the problem with the way that the Selkath, the people on Manan, handle those Quesadilla Padilla says, "Hey, Retro Room, can't stay long, but I wanted to congratulate you on the awesome voiceover job you did for Omega's wrestling event." Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate that, and I really appreciate Omega for giving me the opportunity to do that. And then it just so happened, and for no fault of that, that I have had issues with my voice for the past 2 weeks. It had nothing to do with that. It just I was lucky that I was able to get that to him before this. But I'm glad that you guys enjoyed it. I hope it fit well, and I did watch his event as well. And the amount of work I put in is not even a little bit. This is the thing about it too. The amount of work I put in for Vidi's project and the amount of work I put in for Omega's project is just completely dwarfed by the amount of awesome that both Omega and Vidi put into their respective projects. So if you do like, if people haven't come to this channel and they haven't heard or they're interested in those projects, please give them a look. They are both absolutely amazing. Victor says, "Hi, hey, how you doing?" Says, "Hi, TRR buddy. Hey, how you doing, Leo? I hope everything is going well for you." Okay, I gotta get my bearings. I did this before. I wandered around while I talk. I don't want to do that and bore you guys. I enjoy talking with you, but I also want to make sure you're seeing stuff. So let's see here. It says, Sunry has admitted that he was having an affair with Alassa, that's the Sith officer, and that he was going to end it. He said he truly loved her and he never would have harmed her. I really feel bad. He is married, so hence the affair. Let's see here. Let's read a little bit of this too. Elora professes Sunry's innocence. She claims that that this is some sort of frame-up by someone who wants to get revenge on him. Sunry was an old war hero against the Sith, so they might harbor him ill. And we've heard rumor that he may have been cheating, and we do know that that is true. Okay, so let's take, yeah, but I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I need to take a quick look at something, if I may. Okay, just making sure. I got a message. I feel really bad. Also, I want to make mention, if I may, I feel really bad, and I do apologize. I haven't gotten to drop by Super Mega Retro Dudes vocally. Now, I have dropped by several of the streams to watch and lurk, but due to the ever-fluctuating nature of my job, and even now there's a fluctuation of jobs. I'm actually changing jobs again, starting Monday, this new one. I haven't had the ability to. I've just been so wiped out that I typically will listen to it and then I'll fall asleep. So, not because I'm bored, just because I'm so tired. So, I apologize if I haven't been remarkably vocal in those, but I still am an avid attendance of those broadcasts. Okay, what I'm trying to find here is I need to remember where the path to the judges are, and I thought they were in Auto. It's the port official, so that's the docking bay. East Central. I'm going to go to Auto West. I don't think they're in Auto West, though. I think they were in Auto East, but I'm going to go back. Leo says, "I told Anna, and I'm telling you, on a last stream, I left a link to a channel that's having PS5 physical version contest with extra controller and 2 games giveaway. I'm also entered." I would love to do that. I'm excited. So I was making mention, I think it may be more relevant because of the mentioning of the KOTOR remake on PS5. I appreciate that. I certainly will enter. Thank you so much. I was a fan of Ragnarok, and I saw that they were doing Wolverine. I saw they were doing Spider-Man 2. I saw they were doing Venom, and then, of course, KOTOR remake. I am a little concerned about the KOTOR remake, to be completely fair, just because instead of using... So this original story was written by... Quesadilla Padilla says, "Good luck on your new endeavor." Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. The original script for this was written by Drew Karpyshyn. That's why I told you. Thank you so much. No, I appreciate it, Leo. I really do. Thank you. I will certainly do that. I'm also very appreciative that you. I mean, we were speaking about being intuitive and also being. I really appreciate that was that I came to mind when thinking of that. We'll let these guys fight it out for a second. Oh, I guess we've already done it. These are the 5 judges that are going to be judging everything. Kind of like our own system of Supreme Court, except for there are 9 instead of 5. So we can ask all of these. I'm just going to kind of get a blurb from everybody because this will tell me what they're likely to vote.
Almost seems.
Okay, so it seems like that this particular judge is suspicious of Sunry and suspicious of the Republic, but overall in favor of the Republic. This is Josa. It seems like he is overall okay with the Republic, but it's a very small margin of okay. He's fairly neutral, which I actually respect a lot, as this whole planet's supposed to be neutral. How do you say that? Nelishkin? That's how I would say it, I guess. So he just believes that there's too much clout. The two games are Spider-Man and the new Ratchet game. Oh, that's really nice. That's super, super nice. Yeah, I like I said, I love Spider-Man. I would absolutely for that. And then Ratchet, It's About Time. No, It's About Time was Crash, I think. But yes, I may need to go back and check and see what the new Ratchet. I'm not sure I'm as familiar, but I would absolutely love to give those a play. Spider-Man was amazing. I would love to give it another just play on the PS5 in general. It was so much fun. I was making mention that Drew Karpyshyn, the man that wrote the KOTOR here, and he also wrote the original Mass Effect trilogy, and he's written several books on both Mass Effect and Star Wars. They're not going to adopt his, as I understand it, this script, or even they're not going to take this script or even adopt it to this new one. They've picked a new writer altogether, and I'm okay with that for the most part, except for this new writer seems to have, and yet again, I don't know until I see it, but based off of what I can see that this writer has put out there, this writer seems to have a large amount of disdain and issue with Star Wars fans, and kind of has an unusual taste in Star Wars, which I think is fine. But that does worry me a little bit, being I'm a fan of the original trilogy, then the prequel trilogy, and then sequel trilogy is okay. And this one seems to just like Episode 8 and have kind of, like I said, a large amount of disdain for the fans, which I hope doesn't really interfere with things. I would hope that they, as a writer, just want to do something that's, a respectable piece of writing. So I hope that that's the case. I'm still going to get it, play it through and give my critique, but I'm just a little concerned about that. Okay, this guy seems to be completely. I'll see if I can do it. Okay, I think okay, I mean, he's a little bit rude. He's not really the nicest guy, but I do think I agree with. This is going to sound a little weird. This shouldn't be telling of my real life politics, but when it comes to Star Wars, I think I like this guy the most. He's completely neutral, and I don't think the Sith are evil or the Republic's good or vice versa. I just respect that the bigger power at this point typically takes over, and it's inevitable that they will eventually be taken over by a bigger power, and that'll continue to cycle. To be optimistic about what's coming is great, but to be understanding of what occurs realistically, I think that's a really admirable trait. Shellcar.
Speaking of that injury, has it been taken into consideration?
Speaking of, I don't know, is he considered the Arbiter too? Okay, that's fair. So he likes. So we know that's good. He likes. I mean, for our case, he likes Sunry, but he is. Um, he's not willing to just let him go either.
Simply because it was real doesn't.
So we also know that there was a medal found. Oh, hey, AR, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well today. We know that there was a medal found clutched in the hand of the dead Sith woman, Elassa, and we know that it is actually Sunry's medal. And I do believe we figured out what was going on with that, but he finds this suspicious, so we're probably going to use this. I think I want to ask about these. Okay, we will take a look at that then. So I'm just kind of doing the blurb. I need this guy to let me go around, though. There we go. KOTOR. So he seems to like Sunry, or respect him at least. So this guy is very pro-Republic. And very pro-Sunry he seems to be, which is really nice, but he's, I mean, obviously, still has to remain impartial. Last one.
So nice to meet an imposter. You said it.
Okay, so this guy is definitely pro-Sith. He doesn't like Sunry. He doesn't. He's probably not gonna be our friend here. Now, the tricky piece with this is, as I said before, if we solve the case and he gets a guilty verdict, let's see. Vidi says, this is what you were saying in your showcase excerpt, looking at every possible part of the game. Trying to. There's so many different ways. So on my original, I'm playing this on the backwards compatible through the Xbox One X version. But when I play this on the original, if I were to open that up, I have 178 save files. And that's just me stopping at a vital point, pausing, saving the game, and then taking each path. And then stopping at the next vital point and taking each path. And even doing it that way, you can't hit everything in one playthrough. You just can't do that. There are 4 endings, technically. There's a special secret ending, which can only be done with a corded controller. I believe. I don't believe that I could do it with a wireless controller. But yeah, it's pretty intense. Okay, so the next thing I want to do, I want to go and see if there's anything else from Sunry that I need to...
Joey, coming soon, old friend. Oh, I grow.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go talk. I want to go talk
Once you've gotten enough
to the Rhodian. I ran into the sign. There we go. Yeah, this game is a very deep game. There's just so much to do. Now, this is probably the most tedious world, in my opinion. With there is some tedium in on Tatooine if you're diplomatic, which, because we're on the dark side, we're not very diplomatic. So the tedium will be bypassed there, most likely. And there is some tedium on Korriban if we are not light-sided, if we are dark-sided, and that's going to be fun to do, actually. Korriban's my favorite, but it's also the last world I typically will go to, especially on a dark side playthrough. AR says, call me crazy, but I think this game, I think you like this game quite a bit. I do. This is my favorite game. I love this game. Zediah on Twitch did an excerpt on this game as shown in the showcase ending. I know, I don't know who everybody was, but it was nice to hear other people that were commentating on some of the games that kind of got pushed in. I really enjoyed that. So I briefly streamed this game on Twitch, but I cannot remember what class he chose. I chose mine. I think I'm a soldier this time. Normally I play as a scoundrel. This is actually a little bit, me playing as a soldier is actually a little bit more beneficial to my physicality. And so I spec'd similarly, but I have, NAR says, great job on those showcases. Absolutely. Victory Leo says, good news for horror movie fans. What's the good news? Or did I may have missed something, but if not, what is the good news? I think I'm going to go back to the hotel where they were having the affair. And I need to talk to the roadie in there. I do know something about him. And please forgive me refreshing my throat with some nice tea. Just keeping everything, trying to keep the voice nice and clear, as clear as I can. I'm not sure what the news is either. Okay. I didn't know. I don't know. I'm excited. I listened with bated breath, but I may have missed something. Oh, nope. Here he is. Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Lou. October NECA toy release. McCready from The Thing. Game Demand. Coming out. Oh, that is really cool, actually. That is very cool. I need to take a look at that. That is awesome, actually. So that's Fear with Me. I believe, I don't know if I got a confession or not, but there's a Rhodian in here that has done some shady. Here he is, Glupor. I needed you. Okay, he doesn't have any. Okay, so he's already told me that he's done. So what we heard from Glupor, for anybody who didn't catch it from the previous time we did it, is Glupor did get paid by the Sith to plant Sunry's metal. He actually broke in and stole. The Thing is my favorite movie of all time. I was partial as far as horror movies go. I think it depends on how horror you go with it. I think I'm a little partial to Vincent Price's The Fly. Although the Jeff Goldblum version is amazing as well. Retro having a bad throat right now is making me question if this is the real Retro or his evil twin, who was said to have disappeared all those years ago. There are some questions we have that don't warrant an answer. And this is one of them. No, it's me. I just, like I said, I have radio voice. I've had issues with my throat for the past couple weeks. And it's getting better, but I had surgery a couple years back, and anytime I get anything, even if it's just a bout of strep, my throat's messed up for a little while. Maybe if I'm lucky, I can get my hands on TPY7. Both versions of the Fly are great. Yes. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I guess I'm going to go speak with Sunry again. So the problem I have is I don't want to get electrocuted to death. So what will happen is if I fail this case, I will get I'll get fried with him. No, it's me. That's exactly what the evil one would say. There's no establishing that I was the evil one. Retro could be the evil one for all you know. Oh, oops, I've said too much. Okay, I think we've gotten a little. What I would like to happen on this, I think I'm going to start as soon as I've talked to him, I think I'm going to start moving towards Harakert Station, because I think we've pretty well gotten all of the evidence that I can get right now. What I need to do is I need to incriminate the Sith beyond Sunry's case. And so I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to look to do exactly that. I remember being lent a DVD of The Fly, and it being a DVD, obviously I'd knocked around and skipped several months. Yeah, moments. That happens, and that's the worst, but at the same time, kind of the best, because VHS still to me, there's those inconveniences, but still like, people look after your discs. Yes. My number one is George A. Romero, The Night of the Living Dead, and there's a Night of the Animated Dead versing coming out. That's cool. That's very cool. Thumb Brothers. Hey, Thumb, how you doing, bud? I hope you're doing well. It's good to hear from you.
Welcome to Manon. I'm Roland Wan, as the official representative of the Republic.
And you can see also my character models becoming paler because of my dark side.
I don't know much about the facts of the case. The so-called evidence against him is an... If you want to solve this mess, I would focus on the Sith. That...
Okay.
I regret...
I need him to let me...
Oh, of course. Of course, I'll do whatever I... An ancient and forgotten... Well, perhaps. No. Don't think you can manipulate
I'm gonna try.
Jedi. The Republic Diplomatic Corps has to deal with the Sith all the time. Your only real choice...
Fine.
We were using a submersible reconnaissance droid in the ocean surrounding Ott, but while it was returning to the surface, the Sith were applying subtle pressure to the Selkath authorities for some reason we've not determined. The droid's data centers are heavily encrypted, so it will take the Sith several days, we believe, to get to its data. It was captured. It's heavily guarded, we're sure, in the Sith embassy here on Manon.
I gotta remember how to get into this.
There are several leads we've been working on to get into the Sith base. Any of them should work for. The first method that's possible is to help us interrogate.
I should be good at that one.
We managed to catch after he tried to infiltrate our base. He's being held just inside our enclave. We think he may be able to give us the passcode that the Sith give their He has proved most.
Okay, I'm gonna listen to all of them. I can pick any of them, and it would work just fine.
The encryption system to unlock them is very difficult, however. But if you are more skilled than our technicians, you may be able to.
I don't think I'm more skilled.
The Sith have got the Selkath to give them exclusive use of one of the main hangar bays. Visiting Sith masters use this bay to the luckless spy we mentioned earlier had a pass card to that hangar on him. While it is surely well guarded, it may prove to be the most... The Sith base itself is very heavily guarded. If they became aware... Here is a pass card to get you inside our... You can choose whichever of the methods...
Yeah, I think I'm going to interrogate him.
Good call. Just make sure you... I wish you luck.
If I don't do that, then I'll do the other one. Interrogation's a big thing for me, so... AR says, my girlfriend's a nightmare for that stuff. She puts her PS4 games in the wrong cases. She looks after them in terms of discs. They're always just in the wrong cases. I'm guilty of that. I think Anna does it too, where you pick up the game that you've pulled out of the console, and rather than putting it back in the case that it goes in, you pull the new case for the new game, put the old game in that case, put the new game, and it just keeps going. I don't let it go beyond 1 or 2, but it only depends on if the case is in the retro room, because if it's not in the retro room, I'll put it in the correct case. But if I'm changing a game out in the living room, and the case is in the living room or in the retro room, then I'm guilty of that. So your character is wearing a PSVR 2 early access privilege. It does look like that, doesn't it? It does actually. I didn't realize that. Let's see. Is there? Nice. And the thing is an absolute masterpiece. I agree. It's very nice. I, of course, am also a fan of classic horror, like Hammer horror, that kind of stuff. Obviously, your Bela Lugosi, Dracula, and your Boris Karloff and all that kind of good stuff. All right, so let's run down here, and I believe the prisoner is right over here. All right, I'm gonna talk to.
So you're the one Roland has got to help us interrogate this prisoner. He's a Sith
Should just be able to
spy
use
we
force
picked up a little
persuade,
while
I'd
ago,
imagine.
Snooping around outside trying to get in. We thought he was suspicious and brought him inside when the Selkath weren't looking. But it seems the Sith have done a pretty good job of conditioning this guy, and we haven't been able to break him yet. We're not sure exactly. If you can convince him to... The Sith protect their really important spies with some sort of mental force feedback system. They can turn their minds in on themselves, combine this with conventional training to resist interrogation. Do you want to interrogate?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a shot. Why not? I can't remember how much.
Well, the training the Sith gave him will protect him from most normal interrogation techniques, and also from forced persuasion. He was with another man when he was first spotted. We think it was another spy, but we also seized some personal documents he had on him
He's
when
married
he was
to
captured.
Tila.
It would seem that he's married. We checked
That's
this
gonna be a
in our
weak point.
computers, and it seems to hold up. We've sent a couple of agents to investigate, but it may... What we have here is your standard issue truth serum. Because of his conditioning, he's able to resist it at small doses. But if you give him too much, his body realizes what you're trying to do and shuts his mind out. If you do that, you'll have to inject him with an antidote that neutralizes. It causes short-term memory loss. This may work to your advantage because you can try the same tactic over and over again. But if you use it too... Shall we get
Okay. So this actually, the interesting thing, I think, is, and I think this is pretty cool, is it sounds like the way that, I never realized this, but the way that this truth serum works is the way that real life truth serum works, which is, everyone has this this thought. Everybody watches like True Lies, right? With maybe you guys have seen it too. True Lies with oh shoot, I can't think of his name. Arnold Schwarzenegger. How did I forget that? Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis. There we go. Couldn't think of her name either. I just wasn't good with names right now. Funny movie, I think from '91, and or somewhere around that neighborhood. And anyway, truth serum in that they give to him, and he just tells everything to everybody. So it's like, this is what I'm gonna do. And everybody imagines because of that, when someone gives you truth serum, all of a sudden you just start speaking. And there's a really comprehensive study done on it, and it's really fun, that it doesn't make you tell the truth. It just lowers your higher brain functions, which realize tricky techniques. So if I asked him if he had a wife, he wouldn't tell me yes or no because of the truth serum, right? He wouldn't tell me yes, he did. But if I said, how's your wife Tila doing? And he said, if he's fully cognitive, he would say, oh, who's Tila? I don't know who that is. But if you give him truth serum, it kind of lowers the inhibition, almost like alcohol might. Lowers the inhibitions, lowers the guard a little bit, and then he's like, oh, she's doing fine. Well, now I know that she's fine, and I know he's got a wife named Tila. So that's how truth serum works. And it kind of seems like it works this way, too. I like that.
Hey, you! Wake up! Someone wants to...
I'm going to just start over. Inject him with a neutralizing agent? Okay, I'll just talk with him.
What do you want? You're not.
Let's see. If I tell him I'm going to hurt him, he's going to balk.
The Sith will never trust you again, spy.
Never.
Okay, now can I... Let's talk to...
What?
Actually, let's do Tila.
Tila? How... You think bribes... No, please. No, please.
Okay, but why didn't it let me go? Let me give him a little of the...
What?
No, this...
The gutless Sith... Damn!
Okay, I thought I got to choose... I need... Tila's a soft spot for certain.
No. No, please. You think bribes... What?
I need...
What?
Let's see.
Of course, they would never believe...
The Sith are...
The gutless Sith...
Nothing you could do to us.
Is he just gonna blank out on me again?
You're not. There's nothing you can...
The Sith will never trust you.
Never. You think me...
What happened? Can I not just... let me see something really quickly. I want to try this. Okay, I want to try this. Let's see here. Because I do have a bit of a problem. I want to know if I could do... I can't give him a new dose. Let's do this. Let's try this.
What do you want?
Let's do... Let's be nice.
There's nothing you can do to me, Jedi, that the Sith wouldn't do worse. I'm not afraid of you.
And then, we're the only ones who'll take you in.
The Sith will never trust.
Never. I am Sith. I will never betray them. You think me weak?
So I want to minimize that. Let me try. Let me just try. Oh, none of those work. Let's try his wife.
Tila? How did you find out about her? No, please.
Let's see.
Ha! You couldn't have her. You think bribes?
How does he all of a sudden?
What do you want?
How does he all of a sudden want that? Let's do. Let's do. I may not have the necessary skill to do it.
No, please. No, please. You think bribes will work? You must be... What? Nothing you could...
Of course, they would never.
The Sith
I
are
don't
not...
think there's any
Got
successful.
the Sith.
Ha!
It's just the two with Tila.
You're not.
The Sith will never.
Never.
Damn, we blanked out.
So that was okay. That might have been helpful. Let's try that again. So if I tell him Tila, don't offer the bribe.
No.
Tell him that, and then talk.
Do whatever you want. You think bribe... What?
I may here. Let's just. I'll just stop talking to you.
Giving up so soon?
Excuse me. All right, let me try this one. I think this one might be a little easier.
So you're the one who's gonna try to get into the Sith base, eh? This is our main computer room here. We got the box of pass cards we got from the Sith, but we have been able to decode. The encryption system is composed of 6. Most are simple, but the final 2 matrices seem to be much more difficult. Well, the second last matrix has a pattern looping back on itself, or something. But I have to admit, all this is a bit. I've ruined a dozen cards. Since Roland said you were cleared, you can use the computer.
All right, let's try. Is it this computer? Nope. Happens to be the other one. Okay, let's try that again. Decrypt. 1, 2, 4, 7, 11, 16, 22. 21, 18, 16, 15, 15, 16 goes back up, so that's 18. 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, doubles each time. That's easy. 1, 28, 64, 32, so it halves each time, that's 2. 132, 81, 64, 25. 6 on that one. Each of that's the common factor, I think, in that case. And then 1, 0, 8, 3, oh yeah, that's 7. Nice. There we go. That worked out. That was a lot easier than interrogating him. I was going to interrogate him, and then I realized that that was not at all what I was hoping. I thought I could give him... I thought it was going to be like this... I couldn't remember because I hadn't done it in a while. But it was like the stacking game. You had to give him a certain dosage, and if you gave him too much, he blanked out. But if you didn't give him enough, he was resistant, and you had to kind of find that medium balance. Hey, you ruined a dozen cards. I got it right.
Hey, great! You sliced the encryption on those cards.
Okay, I'm going to go use it right now. Also, you guys know where a purple lightsaber crystal is? I've been looking for one. Alright, maybe not. So what I'm going to try and do in this case, since I'm a bad guy, it's not really in my best interest to save Sunry, even though Jolie wants me to. What it is in my best interest to do, like I said, is to inflate the level of hostility that the Selkath have against the Sith. And then, I mean, at this point, if I can prove... I mean, the way this is not the way a real court would work, because each case has to be taken on its own merit. But if I can help... if I can ruin the Sith's credibility and introduce a personal interest into that, it's a good chance that he won't really care about one... They won't really care about one dead Sith. Whether or not it actually happened, which like I said, I don't want to ruin anything. But I do believe I know the answer to the case. Is it just my net, or has the chat gone quiet for a bit? I've been responding to messages, though, elsewhere. Yeah, I think it's been a little quiet, and that's okay. This is one of those games where I get it, so chat's been a little quiet. Zombie GLT once says, "Hey, the retro room, working and lurking." Oh, no worries. I really appreciate you for being here, Zombie. Thank you so much. Finally had a moment to say hello. No, I completely understand. I've also done a lot of lurking recently, so I completely get it. But I appreciate you for stopping in. As a matter of fact, I got to hear some of the, I call it the podcast, but the, where you guys were talking. I think it was you and Brady and some other people I don't know that I was familiar with. And I did get to comment on it. At that time, I was the same way. I was kind of working and lurking. But anyway, it was really fun to listen to, though.
I know you. You're the arbiter in the murder trial. Shouldn't you be preparing for the trial? Ha! If you have a pass, why are you...
Oh, okay. I guess that does make sense. Nice. Yeah, this is also...
You there. I don't recognize you.
Pretty sure this isn't going to work on her, but we're going to try it.
You. I don't recognize. Commander Gran.
That's fine.
You authorized. I don't know them.
What? Sound...
Alright, we're going to try and take him out. Maybe we can adjust that to not be so loud on your guys' side. Oh, I should probably, who's hurting really bad? Oh, Bastila. I'm gonna level her up. For anybody who's curious as to why I leave the level ups there, that's why. And take these guys out. There we are. And Gib84 Gaming came in as well. Hey Gib, how you doing? I'm still here. I'm always here. In the shadows. Nice. This is one of those games that I No, I don't want to talk. This is one of those games that there's a lot involved in the game itself, so I understand that too. depending on if people are wanting to digest what all's going on or not. There's a shiny foil in there. That's really nice. Foil. I said foil weird, didn't I? A nerve enhancement package. So I made mention of this in the earlier ones too. What I'm wearing almost completely messes up their ability to stun me. So we have, for example, ooh, maybe it isn't. Why do I have this on? I need this on. And then mind... Oh, that's why I don't have it on. So this gives me immunity to mind affecting and poison. And then that gives me immunity to critical hits. So the idea is there are a couple of things that you're looking for immunity to, right? Mind affecting, poison, and critical hits are the big ones. And this stabilizer actually does both mind affecting and poison. So if I can find a set of gauntlets or a belt that will get rid of critical hits, then I should be pretty well invulnerable. Not invulnerable, rather, but much harder to knock off. Okay, all I had to say was the chat was quiet. Now it's a party. Of course. Gibb says, "Are you excited for the remake?" I was making a mention of this a little earlier. I am excited that they're going to finally be giving some attention to it, but I am a bit concerned, and that's because they pulled a new writer. And from what I've seen of this new writer, having read some of their more public, because they are very social media active, I'm a little concerned about this particular person's attitude towards not only Star Wars, but Star Wars fans and the like. So I'm a little bit concerned about that, but I hope that it all comes out well, and if it does, I'm certainly excited. Well, BioWare games are packed full of stuff, to be fair. That is true. That's very true. Jade Empire. For people, I think Jade Empire is one of the more hidden or underrated gems of the BioWare sphere. Another game which I absolutely adore, by the way. Do we have anyone that's good? Not really. Someone's going to walk through that. I think... Whoops. I should have sliced the computer. That terminal right there, that conduit can be overloaded, and I could have fried all of the enemies in here. I love that you can put... excuse me. I love that you can put them in little tornadoes. That wasn't me, that was Bastila, but still. And they just sat there and ride around and around for a little bit. Like, I think I would just... If I were twisting fast enough, I would just hold my blade out. And then I would be as dangerous as I was before. Maybe even a little bit more. AR says that new rider is something. Yeah, that's true. The new rider, and this is, yet again, this is just my opinion. But to me, the new rider... Okay, I should offer opinion first. I think I've made these opinions before, but I'm not sure, so I'll share them again just in case. When it comes to the Star Wars movies, in my opinion, 7, 8, and 9 aren't really all that great. As Star Wars movies. Now, as movies in general, they're okay. I don't feel like that Rey had a good character arc or really much of any developmental arc. I don't feel like that Poe was really used all that well in 8 especially. Finn was used kind of haphazardly in 8 and 9, I think. 7, in my opinion, is probably the Star Wars-wise the strongest, and 9 is probably my favorite strictly because there were some cool Star Wars moments, like Palpatine taking down half of a Starfleet single-handedly. But they're not, in my opinion, the greatest of Star Wars movies. And let's see here really quickly. My thing is with remakes is that you'll always have the original. RE4 is receiving a remake. Would I rather them not do it? Yes, I'm worried that they will cut content, but I always have the original. That's fair. That's a good way to look at it. I agree. But this new writer has been very, very clear that they are not fans of modern Star Wars fans of the originals. In my opinion, 4, 5, and 6 are the best. Or excuse me, I'm not quite right on that. 4 and 5 are amazing. I like 3 better than I like 6. That's kind of a controversial point. And I like 6 a lot. And I actually do like 1 and 2. Now, 2 is probably the weakest in my opinion by a fair margin. 7, 8, and 9 I don't really hold on the same kind of level or scale as the other. And in all honesty, this person just raves that 8's the best. Anyone who didn't like it is uncultured and I'm like, it doesn't have to do with culture. We all have our own tastes, but the fact that you're attacking people for having a taste different than yours is a bit difficult for me to it's a bit difficult for me to stomach, I suppose.
Warning, activating flow control may flood occupied chambers. Please Warning, activate.
Okay. I need to transfer water over to this side. Now, if I had to be that guy, I could say Han Solo had it. Let's see, hold on here. Yeah, okay. Now, if I had to be that guy, I could say Han Solo had a weak development if you include his Return of the Jedi. He was like a fifth wheel, same for Leia. They were definitely like the fifth wheel, but they also, while they were major supporting characters, and I agree with you to some extent on that. I understand where you're coming from. In my opinion, the main character still had a decent character arc, right? Which was Luke, and Luke had this. His character arc was, whiny farmer kid to hero, then from hero to Jedi, and even as a Jedi, he made mistakes all the time. He lost the fight in Episode 5. He didn't really win the fight in Episode 6. He was still learning. He still was cocky. He was still overconfident. There was a large amount of development that was done, I feel like. And with Thumb, I'm sorry, Thumb. I'm talking to you, not at you. I apologize. With Rey, there wasn't that. She doesn't really fail, and when she does, it's only ever in practice. It's always success when it comes to the real fight. And so it's a little bit, it's one of those kinds of things. The new writer is the exact kind of writer I don't want anywhere near anything I like. That's fair. Is there a pattern with contemporary screenwriting, perhaps? Outside of Indy's, modern writing is just not that strong when it comes to characters and story arcs and development. To some extent, that's the case, I think. But with a well-established franchise, it really isn't... I don't want to talk to you, Bastila. It's not really a difficult thing, in my opinion, you have characters that are already established, and if you take a look at the novelizations of what happened post 6, in a lot of these instances, let's try this again. If you take a look at, it's still going to flood this chamber if I do that, though, isn't it? Yep. Let's try this. There we go. When you have a well-established... The thing about it is they had scripts for years. Ever since after Episode 6 had been written, there was a lot of... material to write from. In the originals... Luke is married and he has kids, and those kids go on and have this amazing arc. And and Han and Leia, they're married, they have kids, and his kids have the best arc in the entire post-6 saga. And there's tons and tons of books. I mean, literally hundreds of books that follow what happened. There's the Grand Admiral Thrawn trilogy, the original, which is an amazing story arc. There is the Killick story arc, which is a trilogy by Troy Denning, which is really good. Heir to the Empire, right? There's all these really good story arcs, and then of course after that you start hitting the, and I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who likes to read, but the Darth Caedus arc, and that's several books, and that's like Invincible and all of that. They're really, really good, and you don't have to write that verbatim, but why couldn't you pull some of the inspiration and write that, Luke's arc is a fairly familiar hero's journey type, but it still works. Exactly. But there's development to it, right? He starts out as someone who doesn't believe he can do anything, and then becomes somebody who fails but fails forward. I want a Star Wars show that is years and years and years before anything we know, just way back before anything. I think that would be really cool. There's some books about that. Lost Tribe of the Sith is a collection of short stories about exactly that, 20,000 years before the Old Republic, before Episode 1. John Jackson Miller, really, really good series of books, and they're really fun. Another one, I know it's not way back before, but even if you go back to after this era, but before Episode 1, the Darth Bane trilogy, written by Drew Karpyshyn, very, very good. 3 great books in that. Heaps is here. Oh, hey, Heaps. How you doing? I hope you're doing well. Run over here and kill this guy in red armor. Didn't George Lucas apparently write an outline for 7, 8, and 9, but Disney didn't use it? I had heard rumor of that. I can say for a fact that I have laid eyes on and read through the original blurb, which I think was 11 pages. I can't remember. It was 9 or 11 pages. It wasn't very much. For the original Episode 8 draft, and I really liked it, the J.J. Abrams one, and I actually really liked it. I certainly would have preferred it to the 8 that came out, but yes, I do. There may be some truth in that. I'm not positive. Okay, it's bedtime, mate. Yeah, I think over there it's probably getting to be around midnight and a half. I think Episode 8 and maybe 9 conflict a lot on script and direction decisions. I think so too. I feel like... hold on, let me look over here at this guy for a second. Let's do this, and... you know what? Let's throw an ion grenade at this guy. Did that hit any of our guys? No. Good. Frag grenade. No, I agree with you. I think 8 and 9 did... there wasn't a lot of great communication, I think, that went on between Abrams and Johnson. And Johnson also talked about his constant desire to subvert expectations. And I can respect the desire to subvert expectations, but I feel like that when you try and subvert expectations when it comes to something... I feel like that when you try to subvert expectations when it comes to something that's kind of older and beloved, I feel like that you subvert expectations on a very binary scale, which is something that is good and expected versus something that is bad and unexpected. There aren't very many unexpected things you can do, save for the story itself when it comes to an established property, I think. I don't know. I don't know. That's tricky to me. Maybe I'm wrong. That may not be a good opinion. Maybe I'm wrong on that. AR says 20,000 years before. Man, that sounds interesting. I want to check those out. It's very cool. John Jackson Miller, Lost Tribes of the Sith. They were originally sold as ebook novellas separately, and I believe you can buy the collected works for $15. I don't know how much it would be. I mean, in the UK, but yeah, Barnes & Noble would sell them, I believe. 8 is my least favorite of any Star Wars film. Heap says, hope all is good, Retro Room. Yeah, it's late, gotta sleep. Oh, no worries, but I appreciate you just for stopping by. Thank you so much. I hope you get well rested. 8 is my least favorite of any Star Wars film, I think. I started out with 2 being my least favorite just because of how kind of rushed it was, and there was a major script change because of how 1 didn't go over very well. Specific parts of 1 didn't go over very well, and so 2 changed pretty drastically. But there's still so much good that happened in 2. I watched it again yesterday, I think. Fortunately, at my current place of work, I should heal these guys. Star Wars is playing in the background oftentimes, so I'm very happy if I don't have to work to get to listen or rewatch those. But watching it, I love like Count Dooku. Count Dooku's character even now is just so cool. Clone Wars makes it up, and then he has this really cool book called Dooku, and it's written out like a play. Very, very cool. Also, Babu Frick is genuinely my favorite Star Wars character. I took a picture of something I will send you a little bit later, if that's okay. I had forgotten about it, and you just reminded me. So I will do that. Gibbity4 says, got to go to sleep, mate. Just wanted to say your room tour was excellent the other day. I really appreciate you for showing up, both today and yesterday during the room tour. I had a ton of fun, and I hope you guys did enjoy it. It was kind of interesting to get to show. I didn't show off all the games or anything. I just kind of showed what my setup looked like, but I hope that was somewhat interesting and perhaps a bit informative if anyone needed it or wanted it. Thumb Brothers, have you played Shadows of the Empire Rogue Squadron lately? The old N64 and GameCube games. Yes, absolutely. Shadows of the Empire. Shadow of the Empire. It was, you say lately. Last I played that was about 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. Rogue Squadron, I played recently. I played that within the past few days. I actually have video footage of my brother and I playing Rogue Squadron that lost the audio, and sadly I never got to upload them. So I'm probably going to get to play those again with him at some point, just for the sake of it. He and I are both very, very, very keen on those. I love those. I do not, however, recommend the PC version of Shadows of the Empire. Just a personal preference, and I don't like the cutscenes. Looking forward to you picking up the Transformers chess set. I saw that. You actually have tempted me. I very well may. Thank you so much for showing me that, though. That's so cool. OM gosh. A Rogue Squadron playthrough would be so cool. So we usually play it. I think it's the third one that is co-op. And my brother and I usually play that. We probably will, though. We'll probably do if it's okay, we'll probably do a co-op playthrough when we both get some time to settle. I just got a new job that I'll be starting Monday. Hopefully I'll be teaching, which I'm very interested in and very excited to be doing. Currently I work in telecom, so it's really nice, but I should be hopefully teaching math and potentially some English. So I'm excited about that. Subverting expectations, even that criticism was directed to GOT Season 8. Yeah. And you can see when you subverting expectations is a great thing when you don't expect much, right? Because the subversion of expectations implicitly is better than what was expected, because that's what subverting it would be. But when it's something you expect to be good, like Game of Thrones or like Star Wars, and that subversion of expectation kind of, like I said, binarily becomes the opposite outcome. Good show like Game of Thrones becomes anticlimactic. Good movies like Star Wars become disinteresting, So I miss Star Wars. The late trilogy burnt me out, man. I don't blame you, although I do have to say Solo and Rogue One I think are still make a commendable effort, and I do enjoy those. So I stick to the good ones, the ones that I like, and I usually leave the late trilogy out of it. I don't disagree. I think the world building and just overall design of the locations are so interesting to me in the prequels. Absolutely. I completely agree with that. Okay, this is what I'm looking for here. We see Selkath and the Sith. These are tortured Selkaths. So if I can... what is that token I just picked up? Really quickly. My apologies. I'll just want to take a quick peek. Holding a token. Token. A small token of a personal nature. Perhaps someone who knew this Selkath would recognize it. Okay. I bet you they would. I bet you that the Selkath at that bar that asked me to do that would know exactly what. So now I have an established mode. I believe in these other doors are just fights, so I'm not going to go in them. Pretty sure, in fact. Congrats on the new job, man. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, I agree. Rogue One was really fun. I haven't seen Solo. Solo's really good too. Solo I think does a pretty good job of. I feel like it does a pretty good job of making Han a more dynamic character than he was originally. Vidi says, I also remember enjoying Rogue One. Solo, I think I almost fell asleep to. It can be feast or famine in that case. It's definitely, I think Solo, Rogue One is interesting because it's targeting an event we all had a question to, right? It's kind of filling in a plot hole, which is, why is there this random exhaust shaft on this well-defended thing that, you would have there? And then Rogue One answers that question. It's a design flaw on purpose because the architect hated him. But if it was too gaping of an issue, then he would have just been killed. Solo is more about the person. So it's not whether or not you care about this event. It's much more rather whether or not you care about this individual. And a lot of people don't. I get that too. Not that Solo was bad. Was that bad? I think I actually fall asleep easily these days if I'm not actively doing something. That's fair. That new Star Wars anime show looks really cool. I completely agree. I am very excited about that. For anybody who's an anime fan, anyone who's seen especially Samurai Champloo, which was one of my favorites, very Samurai Champloo cross Star Wars, which I am very excited about. I honestly think to be completely honest and to be completely fair, I honestly think that this is one of the better because the ideas and George Lucas and Nick Gillard, the prequel stunt coordinator, they're going to start shooting at me right off the bat, aren't they? All right, well, I have to hope that token's going to mean something to one of the judges, because if it doesn't, I'm going to die. Wallace. I'm gonna try. I think I'm gonna do it myself. Oh, that's what a burn there. We're not known for our mental prowess. I don't know that that's the case. We're not necessarily known for our neutrality, but I think we're decently intelligent. You stand accused. Okay. What do people think of the new Matrix trailer? A lot of people say it's surely nostalgia bait. I have not yet seen the new Matrix. I've waited to watch it with Anna, so we can sync up. But I've known it's coming for a long time, and I'm so excited about it. Just because I love the first Matrix trilogy. I may have to end up finding more, so I hope very much that, let's do this. Perfect. Okay, that worked. I couldn't remember if that was how that worked or not. It's been a while. Okay. I don't know if I got what I was supposed to get, though. I don't think I did.
I hear you've been appointed as our... He started seeing Alassa last year. But even though I'm sure that harlot was only using him, I know he couldn't have killed her. Maybe the Sith woman, but even though he cheated on me... This is all a...
It's possible.
Find the real...
I feel bad for his wife. She's really loyal, though. She's sticking by him even through that. I don't necessarily know that I have to save him, so who knows. We'll see if that happens. But I don't think I got what I needed to get. I know I needed that token, but I forgot I needed a droid, too. I didn't like it. I really only liked the first film, though. I liked all of them. I liked just the outlandish nature of the second and third ones for me. Like the Merovingian is the most frustrating and yet lovable character to me. And the Keymaker. Keymaker is the most frustrating and not very lovable character. I love the Oracle. She's amazing. So it's like there's so many good characters in it, and it's outlandish and it gets way ridiculous, but it's so fun. I'm kind of excited for Matrix. See here. I'm kind of excited for Matrix 4. I am too. I really like Keanu Reeves right now is on this remarkable just binge of awesome, and I really like Keanu. So I mean, Keanu is he's just so cool. He seems like a really cool person. He gave one of the most, I think, the best answer that could be given to a tough question. And I think it was maybe a little telling of the way that he thinks and lives. And I really respect it. It was on, I can't remember the name of the guy. It's a Stephen Colbert, I think it was. But anyway, it was, I think Stephen Colbert asked him, what happens when you die? And he said, I only know that the ones that love us will miss us. And I think that that's just such a remarkable answer. So, I don't know. I like, after hearing that and kind of hearing what he does and how he treats people, and like, I became more interested in just supporting him in the ways I could. And to be fair, he's not really, in my opinion, bad movies often. Like the Bill and Ted movies, or even movies where his acting isn't that great, like Dracula, the Francis Ford Coppola Dracula, are still pretty, are still pretty entertaining to watch. Let's see, I hope it's good for the people who have waited this long. Yeah, I hope so. First Matrix is still great, I agree. I only liked the first Matrix. That's fair. Like I said, I like the other ones as well, but I understand. Matrix 2 was actually kind of enjoyable. 3, outside of a few philosophical moments, was eh. Did the Wachowskis actually prepare for there to be multiple Matrixes, both film-wise and lore-wise? I don't think so. I think that the first 3 were intentional. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. This could be the case. I feel like the first 3 were intentional, just because there's some fairly extensive lore to it, and they get into that lore with the video games even. Oh wow! This is, you can't use mind tricks on me because I've got a brain implant. I've also got a healer. I will take all of your lightsaber. Wait, fear, drain all fear, drain. Let's drain life. And then fear. He's got the same implant. Dang it. I don't know though, honestly. I feel like that there's so much I feel like that there's a lot of deeper lore, and it's kind of explored, like I said, in the video games. I feel like that there's a lot of deeper lore that was probably not just dreamt up on the spot, but I could definitely see the first film being successful and then them deciding to write 2 more and say, let's make it a trilogy. I could see that being the case. I don't know for a fact. I do feel like that Matrix 4 was certainly not planned until, because here we are a decade later, So I absolutely don't believe that this... Where's the droid I need? I absolutely don't believe that this was planned. But I think that there was at least supposed to have been the first 3. I don't know if that's any kind of insightful, but... Okay, here's the little extra hall. I do seem to remember... That's not... Okay. Odds are that behind these doors are bad guys. Yep. I don't like these. I don't like these things. Throw grenades at it. Alright, you know, no, I don't want to auto level up. I'll do it myself, thank you. Treat injury. Let's see, what would help me with... Oh, lightning. Lightning would help me with droids. What would it recommend? Yeah, it recommends the same thing. I thought so too. Alright, thank you, game. Also, I can level up more than once. Wisdom, so I have more force power. And treat injury, because I only have 1 point. And bigger lightning. And, yeah. And bigger scary head. Alright, got it. Fair enough. I guess we're seeing the Matrix being created for a... excuse me. Fair enough. I guess we're seeing the Matrix being created for a 7th time in the 4th film. I do not remember the Matrix 3 ending that well, outside of the good triumphing over evil. It didn't. That's a good memory. It doesn't end particularly well. And I don't mean that from the case of the movie. The movie has a fairly concise ending, but it does have an ending that could be considered not so fun. I don't know if it's worth me making mention, just because there are people that I imagine are going to want to watch it. Force power recovers very slowly. I'm just going to huck grenades at it. I will say one thing that I would love to see again is, just because I also believed he was a, sonic grenades aren't particularly effective, are they? No. Plasma grenade will be, but it'll kill my partners. Nope, it didn't kill him. What was I trying to say? Oh, I think that, and I could be wrong, but I feel like that, the trailer may have revealed it, but I would love Hugo Weaving to come back if he hasn't already. I don't know if he does or doesn't, so maybe he does. Just because he's supposed to be a regenerating program, so there's really no reason he hypothetically shouldn't be able to. I would personally love to see Hugo Weaving come back as Agent Smith. I think that would be really cool. Let's throw this. I already got another level. No. Cancel. I almost threw that plasma grenade at myself. I didn't even know how I threw that sideways and did well. These things right here are so hard to take down. But I don't know. The Matrix films, I honestly don't know. The other thing is, if it's not a spoiler, he doesn't ashamed. Probably he was a great. Oh yeah. Well, and yeah, no, that's not a spoiler. I mean, if they, or at least if they didn't show it in the trailer, it would. I mean, I wouldn't take it as a spoiler. But it's like V for Vendetta, you know. With V for Vendetta, he did such a great job as V, and it's just that iconic, you know, Mr. Anderson. Kind of how they treated, honestly, one of the things that I think that they did well with Star Wars 9, right? To try and re-raise hype and expectation was when the trailer was going that they had Palpatine's laugh. And, I mean, everything else kind of was a train wreck, but to hear Palpatine's laugh was kind of a big thing for a lot of people. And it would be kind of cool to see the blackout screen and, you know, hear Mr. Anderson.
Not this again.
Sorry, I had to get a quick drink. These things take forever to take down, my goodness. We'll see who the bad guys are in Matrix 4 soon enough. Yeah, I think it'd be cool. I mean, the first one, obviously, Agent Smith was the big bad, and then they had, Agent Johnson and Agent Jackson were the other ones. Which was pretty cool. I mean, they were fine, but, like, for them, it was, uh-oh. I'm going to imagine that this would probably kill me unless I have shields on. So, No, you guys stay over here. Come on. Let me do...
What can I do?
You can go into that really heated room. Am I the one that's best with the computer skills? Let's see. I shouldn't have done. I should have looked. I didn't realize that there was a panel on the other side. Let's see. True, a sound or a bit of dialogue can evoke some strong feelings and memories. Yeah, I think just hearing the, Mr. Anderson, I think that would have been cool. Oh, Jolie's actually the best. Oh, son of a gun. Okay, well, Jolie, here you go. It's really hot in there. Run. That almost just took him out right there and then. Alright, one spike and then steam control room. Deactivating the steam vents is 7 spikes. Dang. Alright, well, I guess we're just going to have to do it the difficult way. I don't have enough spikes to do it. Yeah, I think that it would be cool to. I mean, I think it would have been nice to see. No, let's leave that. Okay, cool. It will kill me if I don't go. Med pack. It shouldn't kill me actually. Hold on. How's my health compared to like Jolie's and theirs? Oh, sheesh! It almost killed Jolie. My health is actually. Wait, no, am I wrong? I am wrong. My health is better. I was looking at force points. Okay, here we go. I think it would have been nice to see something like that. That here, Mr. Anderson and screens, blacked out or something. I think it would have been cool. But I get it. I understand if they want to go a different direction. But then the question is, and I am aware of this, that they have Keanu still. Like, why do that if the whole plot's going to be different? Why do you have the same hero? So I don't know. I'm excited about it because it has him in it, but at the same time, What is this? Really? Really? Wasted a spike on that. This door didn't even open. It's phony. What happened? What happened? This whole thing was just a mess. Let's log out. Let's let Jolie get back in here. And see if he can open up. Have you ever played Jade Empire? Yes, I was making mention of that earlier, actually. I love Jade Empire. I'm a big fan of it, actually. I had done an episode with my brother, and this was before I was very well versed on how the audio and all that worked, and we were using 2 separate mics on 2 different things, and they weren't synced, and I didn't realize one mic was at 48 kilohertz and the other one was all this. Anyway, and the audio just wasn't usable. So I have it, but it just wasn't usable. But I love that game. It's not my favorite in the same way this is, but I really like it, yeah. Keanu's back with John Wick hair and beard, yeah. Yeah, which I think is cool. I mean, it's, he's gotten a little older. He honestly ages very well, though, to be completely fair. From a business point, it's probably because Keanu's a huge name, which is interesting to me because he's been in movies since, 30 years ago, 30 years ago, but then but he's now a huge name again. That's really great. Yeah, all the trailer did was make me want to watch John Wick again. And, of course, John Wick 4 is coming out, too, so we've got that. Ooh, Nope, never mind. I think that I'm trying to see if that Cellcath had a lightsaber, but I don't think so. Where is this room anyway? Flow control room. I can't do anything with that. Steam room. Disassembly room. That's the droid we're looking for. Okay. I don't have enough spikes to do anything. So I guess I just need to figure out where it is. That's alright. At least I know where it is, right? But the fact that this door didn't go anywhere is frustrating. We went down here, we lost health, and went through 2 med packs. And lost a spike. Needlessly. Because I was being a doofus. I'm a little... Also, I'm curious. What does everyone think? I gotta ask this. What does everyone think about the recent kind of flooding of John Wick-esque movies, right? Like Bob Odenkirk was in Nobody, which I hear is fun. Disassembly room. Perfect. I hear I hear that one's pretty I hear it's a pretty fun movie, pretty fun watch. Did I decide just not to use it? Okay, there we go. But at the same time, it's very John Wick-esque. And John Wick, I mean, by extension, is kind of like Taken, but for a less, for not as big a motive. And then they've got a new, I think they've got a Nicolas Cage one that's coming out as well. That's what I've heard. I've actually not seen any John Wick stuff. Then again, if Keanu is back in The Matrix, the trailer gives off that vibe. What am I doing here? I'm not really supposed to be here. Oh, gotcha. Well, and considering the end of the third one, I could understand that. Okay, this is the droid we needed. Data module. Okay, there we go. I don't even have to find the training room. I'm not even interested in it. There's no point in fighting. I mean, I could take their lightsabers, but I got plenty. I got enough to add to my collection. Nobody is really good, man. It's clearly John Wick influence, but it's good. I like Bob Odenkirk also, so I mean, I wanted to see it, but I didn't know if it was, there's too much of a good thing kind of thing, kind of a decision. And I like John Wick, but at the same time, I didn't know if it was going to be like John Wick, but not as good as John Wick, and then I was just going to be disappointed. So I'll give it a watch though. Now that you've said that, Willy's Wonderland with Nicolas Cage is fun. I can't watch any Nicolas Cage movies while Anna's around. She cannot stand his face. I don't know what started it, and I don't know why, but she can't stand it. So I may give that a watch. I am familiar with that one. I may give it a watch when she's not around. If she goes off and does something and I happen to be left alone for whatever period of time, I may give that a watch. I love the 3 John Wick movies, although they are totally not realistic. Like people saying how awesome Keanu is at fighting and using a weapon. It's a movie. It's planned. It is, but to be completely fair to Keanu in this case, there is a lot of footage of him, the training that he put in to being that way. So obviously, I mean, if he were in the situation, would he fight that well? I don't know. But there is some really impressive footage of him on the gun range with reloading and hitting the target right between the eyes. And so I agree with you. It's completely planned. The choreography is amazing. But I will give credit to I do have to give some credit to the real life training he put himself through as well. Nobody knows exactly what it is. Straightforward action movie. Okay, that's fair. I love Nicolas Cage, LOL. Yeah. I know Keanu did legit learn a bunch of martial arts. He did. And yet again, I agree with Thumb in that regard that you can't conflate choreography with martial arts. But I also didn't want to completely just go out with, and say, okay, he doesn't know any of it. If he, like I said, if he was in a room full of thugs, but it's a movie. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Don't get me wrong. He looks very immersed in the role, but I agree completely. Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you put Keanu in a room full of thugs, it's not going to happen as well as it happened in John Wick, for certain. I just didn't... I understand where people are coming across of his dedication, but yeah, I agree with you. It's choreography. AR says, no, it's real. Like no one can do that stuff. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I agree with that. A lot of the things you see too, like made me think of Deadpool when he's in the Deadpool 2 at the beginning when he's in Japan taking down part of this like Yakuza subsect. Seeing even a razor sharp katana going straight through someone's head, right, or someone's neck rather, is not realistic. You're not going to see that. I passed Roland. You're not gonna see that.
Have you managed to retrieve the data from our droid?
I did.
Excellent. It does not appear to have been. And now for your information. We are not supposed to speak of this, but since you are a Jedi and we have, as you know, the Republic is fighting for its very existence against the evil. We need much in the way of supply. Manan is the sole source of KOTOR, the most powerful medical substance.
In the old canon, this is before Bacta came along.
The Selkath conservatives, with their neutrality treaties, seek but a few more far-sighted Selkath see that if the Sith are ever allowed to win, so we made it. Shh, not so loud. Yes, it is a technical fight. We recently began construction of a secret. Current techniques are insufficient. We were nearing completion of the base when the digging team's transmissions from the base were. As you may have noticed, we're hiring a lot of mercenaries. When we lost contact, we've tried hiring. The reason we really sent that, but now that we have the data back, I took the liberty of having it. It has been programmed to take. I would send soldiers to it.
That's fine. I can take care of it.
Find out. Good luck in your effort.
Okay, so the long and short of that is they're supposed to be the Selkath. This world is neutral, and the Kolto, the rocks and the healing salves that are made from it, are supposed to be distributed evenly amongst the Sith and the Republic, and because of the neutrality pact between the Selkath. But some of the higher reigning and ruling Selkath are apparently willing to let the Republic dig their own private tunnel to getting extra healing Kolto. So I guess there's no footlock or anything. All right, we're gonna go underwater. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, a lot has happened. I apologize. My goodness. It's like a video game. He knows where the bad guys are beforehand. Yes, exactly. What is real? How can you define real? Real is simply electronic signals detected by your brain. Are we real? Will you take the blue pill or the red pill? Perhaps we are all the Matrix right now. Simulation theory is a very... I mean, I'm sure you guys... I don't have to tell you guys. Simulation theory is a very big and very... I don't know if I would say credible, but I would say that many credible people have stated that they are concerned that simulation theory may be a possibility. And simulation theory is definitely interesting to think about, because if our existence is relegated strictly to ones and zeros and electronic signals into the brain, that's the entirety of our... Oh, there we go. I already opened that one. That's the entirety of our existence. Then it wouldn't be difficult to modify small burst electric signals. There was a test in 2000 that did something very similar. Wait, you're telling me that the Scorpion didn't really kill those ninjas in the... Really? A pool of red blood AR? Nice. No, it wasn't. It didn't have a stroke. It's difficult to type on. I get it. I do the same thing. You're telling me that Middle Earth is not real? I couldn't say that it was, but to some people, I don't know. That's good. I'm tired, man. No worries. Red pill, blue pill. No worries. I knew what you meant. I've started something again. Move along now. My rants never come across too well. No. It was great. I agree with you. I understand exactly where you're coming from.
No, we have no time. We have to leave now. We have to. I was one of the mercs, and the Selkath came out screaming. They swarmed out, so we ran. The sharks, the Ferox are out there, and that doesn't mean it's not.
I should probably...
No, everything.
Okay, I'm fine. You can stand right there. I should have... I'm the bad guy. I'm not used to being the bad guy. I should have said the mean thing, but I didn't. Sorry. I've let you down. Let's see. It's nearly 10 a.m. I have trouble concentrating. No worries. I'm starving. Got to do some late food shopping. Happy I'm off work tomorrow. Absolutely. I wonder... Tomorrow's Thursday. Tomorrow's Thursday. All right. Very nice. Need fuel to... simulation theory. Does it apply to the Truman Show? Similar, right? The Truman Show is a very complicated version of what simulation theory supposedly can do. Simulation theory is a little bit more about just having the basic mild electric signals of our brain modified so that our perceptions are altered to what we currently understand as reality. Whereas the Truman Show, it was the big, elaborate set and cameras and such. And inevitably that malfunctioned. The amount of function necessary for simulation theory is limited to, potentially a single electronic pulse and the length that your brain can take it. Need food to fuel puns. Absolutely. I believe we are all giant dying worms connected to the computers living this life. There's an interesting short story I recommend you read if you have a theory that's similar to that. It's called "I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream" by Harlan Ellison. That has an interesting similar take on that. But I understand that. I got to do some grocery shopping. Thanks for the stream, Retro. Oh, thanks for stopping in, Thumb. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you jumping in to say hi. So hopefully, since you're starving, hopefully that gets taken care of and you feel better. Yeah, there's a but yeah, if you get a chance, there's a book that's kind of, it's not quite the same, but there's a book. It's a short story. It's very easy to get. I think Kindle Unlimited has it for free, and it's not terribly expensive if you decide to get it elsewhere. It's a if you decided to buy it, I think as a book, you'd probably have to buy it in a Harlan Ellison compendium, which would be something like something Harlequin said the TikTok man, or I can't remember exactly. But yeah, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. It's got a there's a really good short story. There's a game available that's a sequel to that, which is great on elaborating a little bit further on it, and it's kind of a par for the course 80s fiction about simulation theory. It's actually really cool. We need to start a podcast about simulations, life, alien, space, ghosts, time travel, and cards. I got the cards. I can do that part, but I'm not sure that my opinion or knowledge in the other fields is sufficient to be that interesting, but I'd be happy to do it. I love discussing things like this, though. I really do. It's a lot of fun because it's to me, it's always just fun to... you know what? I have this. You thought that shockwave was going to put me out of commission, didn't you? That worked out, I suppose. I didn't do it. I did that one lightning bolt, and that was it. Wait, Doctor Who isn't real? Wait a minute. Hold on. I messed up. Wait, Star Wars isn't real? It was made by a guy named George Lucas originally? Wait, Doctor Who isn't real? George Lucas isn't real. That's it. You can go really far back on that one, can't you? The Doctor is real. But which Doctor? I love this stuff. Yeah, I love talking about it. To me, it's I mean, talking about the science, the kind of an ethereal science. Like, I mean, we have an understanding of some things, right? But having kind of the conversations about things that are beyond what science has proven is always interesting to me. And it's always fun to theorize. And when you come to something like you said, like simulation theory, for example, or when you come to something like I don't know. When you come to questions, existential questions, not why do we exist, but how do we exist, it's really, really cool. I do look at some people and think, no, you're not human. Yeah, I think a lot of people look for these. I think they're calling them, and it's a colloquialism, but I think a lot of people are calling them glitches in the Matrix when they see, for example, there are people that have seen, I think, like a cat, and then that same cat does the exact same thing in a deja vu fashion, but quantifiably is a separate cat, but it's the exact same movements and fur patterns and so on and so forth. Those glitches in the Matrix are interesting, for certain. Also, you do have to think. I mean, and it's interesting to think about, but deja vu, right? I think we've all experienced deja vu at least once, right? Deja vu is the knowing of something that you couldn't have known because it hadn't occurred. But you had some level of consciousness that was aware of it happening because it happened before. What are the odds of something that happens before happening exactly in the way that it happened before? If Star Wars can have a few good games, Doctor Who should too. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I think that'd be really neat, but I don't know how most of them would approach it. But I do think it'd be fun. When Elon Musk was talking about Joe Rogan, it was like his answers were being programmed in real time. His eyes were flying left and right, like some kind of a code. Elon is I think Elon is an intelligent individual, but I also believe that he's a little bit more eccentric. And I'm not saying eccentric in terms, I don't mean, that doesn't demean the validity of his speaking, right? Because his biggest fear, for example, is the singularity, which I think is absolutely a very reasonable fear to have. The belief that something that is made to learn efficiently, that is programmed to learn efficiently, will learn and believe that the excess efficiency creates a superiority complex, or it will create a superiority complex, and then will become kind of underfoot, irrelevant. I think that's a respectable fear. But at the same time, I can't read too much into how he tells a story. I have to read it just because I feel like he would do that at a family dinner, like eyes flickering. Like time travel and transcendental interior spaces like a TARDIS. I think that I love the idea of that. I think that's super cool. Time travel, I hate the idea of, and I apologize for anybody. I mean, I don't mean to demean anybody else. I don't like time. I'm chronophobic, so time is a very scary concept to me. But transcendental spaces, interior spaces like the TARDIS, yeah, you walk into a police box and you have a room that's, you know, effectively the size of a small home. I think that's interesting. Mathematics tell us that it can't happen, but at the same time, nothing is 100%. A lot of things are very close, but those birds that are just flowing. Oh yeah, exactly. Deja vu is so weird. Yeah, that's what's so that's what's to me so curious. That's what is so curious to me, is deja vu. If you think about it from the most technical perspective, is your mind witnessing a series of events that happened to occur in real life later on. But typically deja vu isn't just a vague series of events. It's usually a fairly specific series of events with, to some extent, you being able to say, where's this, and then that appears in the real world. If it hasn't occurred yet, how can your brain perceive it as that? And then it occur. So that kind of, I don't know that lends any credence to that our minds are not connected directly in time, as linearly in time as our bodies are. But if it does, what I find interesting is, are our minds connected in time, space-time, differently than our bodies? Because if they are, then that might lend credence to the existence of the human, or of us being greater than the existence of our flesh and bone. I don't know. That seems maybe like I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but that's kind of my thinking. I always wonder. Oh, he's definitely eccentric. 2 black cats. Maybe I have seen those. It's possible. You may have seen these glitches in the Matrix. is what people call them, and it's interesting. I don't know if I believe it's a glitch yet or in the simulation theory, but I definitely don't discard it. I always wonder what if we're in a waiting room right now, and our actual life begins when we die, walks away mysteriously while putting. Well, think about this also, right? Think about if it's simulation theory, and think about if it's something like the Matrix. But let's use a simulation. Let's use a simulation that we're familiar with, right? Let's use something like a video game. Let's use The Witcher for being hypothetical. We know that this is the case with games, with Simon's Quest, Castlevania 2, and The Witcher, and Red Dead Redemption. Their day and night cycles, and their entire day and night, that whole time occurs in, usually it's a span of like 7 to 12 minutes. So assume that a normal human lives to be 83, 84 years old, right? So take that, divide all that out, and by the time that we had lived our entire 80-year-old life, if we were in simulation, and if the simulation accelerates time in the same way that our games do, when we wake up from the simulation, we would have lived an 80-year-old life, but we would only be about 12, 13 years old, our actual bodies. If that happens to be a simulation, then by the time the next simulation runs, we'll be in our, mid-20s to early 30s. So there's all these kind of interesting, I don't know, this is just weird to me. Whatever beliefs one has, there is one about reincarnation and previous lives. I might not have been a person or a young man in a previous life. Reincarnation is definitely interesting, although I do find it odd in a lot of cases that people believe at least that I've heard, that when reincarnated, you don't traditionally come back as a human a second time. It's almost always it always almost seems to be and I'm not saying this to be rude, but a lower life form. I don't know if I understand that the nature of that. I would assume that if reincarnated, you would have the option to come back in a human body as easily as a lower life form body. Because having a ton of knowledge and not being able to properly articulate it inside of the body of something like quadrupedal would be, I think, difficult. And I don't mean lower life form in terms of that I don't care about them, but in terms of not having higher brain functions, being driven more or less by the amygdala. There's a guy in this one.
Is somebody out there?
I'm just gonna.
That's what you think? Fishy think that too. These walls and door are 6 centimeters, no 12 centimeters of Durasteel. I'm invulnerable behind my walls. Nobody's getting in here.
I can see the notch. It's not 12 centimeters. That'd be a 5-inch thick wall.
No, only the ones left in this.
All right, fine.
Don't know. When the demons. No, only the ones left. Bye bye. Go.
I think I can just stick my lightsaber in there.
That's what. No, you.
I don't think that's how I would have done it, but if I'm being a bad guy, I gotta be a bad guy. That is not. How are you in there? There's a shelf in there. Also, that is absolutely not 12 centimeters thick. That may be 2 inches, so 5 centimeters at best. All right, sorry about that. Vinny was a kangaroo in his previous life. I was a bear. The body hair carried over to this life. That's, I mean, I don't know. I don't discard reincarnation theory at all. But I just find that one facet interesting. My fascination with aliens is unhealthy too. I want to see them so bad before I die. So I think that we will probably see something else. I don't know if we're going to see it in the same way that we see here in Star Wars, but I feel like that we'll probably have some evidence in our lifetime. My hope, my desire in life is simply not to die. And because of that, my biggest thing is taking a look into the studies of science that indefinitely prolong human life. Studies have been done to prove that the Earth will only sustain, and it'll start to fight back when we hit to about 12 billion, which we are effectively 3/4 of the way up to at this point. But it won't fight back in a way that most of the mortality rates will go up. It'll fight back in the way that circumstances for reproduction will diminish, is what the theory is. And so, if that's the case, then that means that and I imagine that we'll also be doing, I hope at least, we'll be doing a lot more space exploration and off-world colonizing and such. And I say colonizing in the non like harmful meaning of the word, in the way of saying making a home on an uninhabited, in an uninhabited area. I couldn't possibly have been a kangaroo, lol. In my childhood show Around the Twist, there was a one-off joke about a food-obsessed kid being a fridge previously, and then the sister said, beliefs should be respectful. That's a very insightful statement, though. I think that. Be respected, rather. I think that's very insightful. Or, I think I can take my lightsaber there. Look what he said. Thankfully, that did not occur, because they are related. Directly. One of my artistic inspirations, Laurie Anderson, talked about reincarnation. Maybe she was a cow or a hat in a previous life. A hat is an interesting thing to be, because a hat would be inanimate, so it's interesting. I'll be honest, death freaks me out so much. I'm not religious in any way either, so I kind of do believe that there's just nothing. You've had your go around, and that's that. It's so death doesn't really. Now I gotta go into my spiel again. And if you stop me, it's kind of a stop me if you've heard this one before. So death doesn't freak me out. It's not death that freaks me out. It's time. Because think of this. Death, yet again, fairly binary. You either are dead or you're not. And right now we can perceive being alive that we're not dead. Being dead, whether you believe that there's anything otherworldly or religiously external, doesn't necessarily answer the question of how do our conscious, is there more to us, or are we just an electrical firing? Because existence could still, in some form or fashion, like I said, if you're reincarnative, or if if your mind is electronically, if your mind works off of electricity, which it does, are there not other things that could happen to those signals, right? Do those signals just die, or do they continue to go off? Are you constantly in a state of dream? Do you need oxygen for the electric signals to occur? Evidence shows that the answer is not necessarily, right? There was a French experiment done about 130 years ago where a man was able to respond after a beheading to external stimuli for up to 10 minutes post his death. That's very telling that there's not a lot of oxygen necessary for these electronic firings, especially not for ones that are done subconsciously, right? Ones that are done consciously, his responses to that stimulus were eye-opening and eye-following. He was actually cooperating with an external source. But imagine if he was able to do that for 10 minutes, what other things could he do for 10 years on low battery power, so to speak? And that's kind of a crazy thing. And so, but time is not binary at all, and that's what's so scary about it. Imagine right now all of the things that you can do. There are things you probably can't. There are things we might not be able to do because of circumstance and physical limitation. I'm a somewhat heftier guy. Can I run a marathon? Probably not. Can I run? Yes, at the moment I can. I have no physical condition stopping me from doing that. Could I play a game of football or basketball? Yeah, absolutely. I don't have any physical condition stopping me from that. So I had to mention the Matrix, and we talk about reality, electronic signals, reincarnation, and more. It's a big rabbit hole, but of course, if you, like I said, stop me if you've heard it before. If you're wanting to move over, I can certainly do that. This is a topic I find very interesting, and it's very nice to get to talk to other insightful people with different viewpoints. But if it's something you don't want to talk about, please let me know, and I can certainly move it over to a Star Wars or something else. But yeah, so in my take on this, and this is difficult, I think, is it's difficult to stomach for me. Oh, shoot, Jolie. Sorry, bud. I didn't pause it fast enough. I wasn't thinking of what button I needed to be hitting. Right now, I can run if I need to. I can jump. I can play sports. I can play games. I can speak well. I can, and I don't mean speak well in terms of eloquence. I mean speak well in terms of my voice is, despite it's a little messed up, is fairly clear. My mind is sharp. I have a decent memory, and my ability to articulate thought and to express it verbally is there. As you get older, how much older do you need to get before some of these things are taken away from you? Does 10 years take away your ability to jump? Does 20 years take away your ability to run? Does 40 years take away your ability to remember? Does 60 years take away your ability to think? It doesn't matter. It's always just a number. It's a number, but what number gets plugged into when you lose that thing is a mystery. And you spend your entire life working up to and learning these skills and obtaining these skills, becoming the strongest, smartest, fastest, only for it to inevitably be taken from you slowly, and you witnessing it consciously that it's being taken away from you. That is a super scary thought to me. I don't have any history of dementia or anything like that, thankfully, but what about for people that do? These people could have been the most intelligent and most well-versed mentally in their day and age, and now they can't remember what happened yesterday or a family member's face. They've developed a prolonged prosopagnostic tendency, and I think that that's really scary. So my objective is to look into researches, and Dr. Aubrey de Grey's been doing it for a while. He's talked about the integration of jellyfish DNA, Tetricula dory, that specific species, which has the ability to regenerate DNA and prolong the life of this nerve cluster for potentially ever. That's what interests me, and that's where I get scary. That's where things. That's what I'm looking into. That's what I get excited about, rather. Also, when I think of just how fast time goes by, and just how much you can possibly miss time with other goals, goals you want, the kind of stuff drives my brain nuts. Absolutely. I wanted to make sure I read that clearly, because I don't know if I. But the other thing about it is also look at the perception of time. That's another thing. Let's see. Vidi says, true, I have my physical limitations like my hearing aids. I cannot do phone work as a staple, for example, despite employment consultants thinking I can just do a job that's in demand. Of course. It's a good point. On that note, I better go. I'm babysitting Charlie today. Oh, no worries. I appreciate you for stopping in and saying hi, Vidi, and for sparking such an interesting conversation as well. But thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Dementia scares me more than anything. How would we deal with the population if no one died? There's a study that's occurred that stated that, do we not have anyone with a security skill? Okay, she's getting in there. There's yet again hypothesis, but a hypothesis that's decently strong nonetheless, which theorizes that our ability to populate is directly correlated to how many people are populating the planet currently. So right now we have just around 8 billion people. It's speculated that the Earth can only support up to potentially 12 billion people. But it's speculated that our ability to reproduce will decline as our population increase. I don't know exactly the science of that. I should go back and do the reading, but the speculation is that that's the case, that we would be looking at we're about 3/4 of the way to capacity. And that in order to compensate, as our ability to as our population goes up, our ability to populate goes down, or our effectiveness in population. So it's supposed to be that a natural occurrence will kind of self-correct, but I'm not entirely positive. I didn't read the entire study, and I should do that. I need to go back and do that. But the theory was essentially that we can support about 25% more than we have currently. I think we've got to look into more planets too. I agree. I would love to. The thing about colonization of other planets, and yet again, I use that word not in the same way that it's been used in the past with the taking of land from other people. but rather in the habitation of, or creating habitable land out of uninhabited land. I think we'll see that in our lifetime, honestly. The problem with it, I think, and this is on our side of things, yet again, this is not a worldwide, but NASA, for example, on our side doesn't get, but gets less than 1% of our national budget. And I honestly think that that's what sparked things like SpaceX and, Blue Origin, Jeff Bezos' space company. I think that that's what sparked a lot of interest in those kind of private space explorations and such. But I agree. I think we should look into it as well. But yeah, that would be my take. But my goodness, this door took forever to hammer through. And there may not even be, there's a foot locker there, but it doesn't look, or a plasteel canister, but here. Okay, he's faulty, so we should be okay. I know that I'm supposed to go outside, but I want to clear the base up as best as I can, because when I come back, I do remember that I have to go back to court. Not for Sunry. I have to go back to court for another reason. So I want to make sure that I clear this all out as best as I can, and that way it's just a straight shot back up. Watch us take the land of some alien species and start some galactic war. It's not, that would be a ridiculously human thing for us to do, but it's not unheard of. We've seen evidence. We haven't seen enough evidence of remarkably intelligent life, at least on the planets on our solar system. The most I think that they're looking at habitable planet at present would likely be Mars. The gravity is a little bit different, but the problem with it is that at least at present, it's just not. Our Earth is a wonderful little hodgepodge of water and land and all this other stuff, whereas Mars is not very much so. We would have to bring quite a lot of water. And there's no guarantee that water would occur in perpetuity because it doesn't rain the same way. So I think it would be interesting, but other than that, I don't think we would have to travel beyond our own galaxy to do that. I don't think any of the planets other than that are habitable. You go to Pluto, which isn't a planet anymore, and you freeze to death. However, your pronunciation of the planet Uranus is what a lot of people say. The proper, I think, pronunciation of it was a Roman word, so it was Uranus. That particular planet is just a gas giant, so that doesn't do us any good. Neptune, same situation. Venus is far too hot. Mercury's far too hot. Mars is Saturn's acid rain and meteors would kill us. Jupiter, the gravity alone would kill us. We'd die under the weight of our hair. What are the planets? Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and then, like I said, Pluto's a dwarf now, so doesn't count. But what would you do? I need to find the little. I think it's all cleared out. I just need to find a little door. I think I picked up a wetsuit. I can just pick up a little door and I can go outside and start harvesting my stuff. I don't think. But I agree with you. I honestly don't think that's. I think that's probably the most probable circumstance. Humans amongst ourselves are not exactly the most peaceable. We're not exactly the most peaceful people. Peaceful race, or we fight over anything. I don't want a hot planet. Starting a petition now. Same. Earth gets hot enough, in my opinion. Could you imagine if we could survive Venus? Oh my goodness, it'd be so miserable. There's what I'm looking for. We couldn't. Venus is just. It's the hottest planet in the solar system. It is just blazing. But, can you imagine? If we could survive that, how just absolutely ridiculous that would be. But no, there's no way. There's absolutely no way. That, I mean, save for the sun, there would just be so ridiculously hot. Oh, I said I wanted to clear up. I said I wanted to clear it out, but I had forgotten I can't clear it out because I will go into another vein of the thing I haven't been in before. At least I think I do. I'm not positive. That's the other thing that's really interesting. So Star Wars, normally when you watch it, it's...
Who's there?
No, I just...
I'm a merc. All my companions. Oh, I'd have gone. I discovered it's got an emergency. I figured my only. Besides, it's...
okay.
I'm not spending. I'm heading out to the... We should probably stick...
Alright, well, we'll stick together, I guess. There's a Foot Locker down there, but it doesn't have anything good in it. What's interesting as well is when you look at a lot of the Star Wars... Not every Star Wars planet, but a lot of the Star Wars planets are only a single biome. So, for example, like Mustafar is only a volcano planet. Tatooine and Jakku are exclusively desert planets, right? Hoth is exclusively an ice planet, or Ilum is exclusively an ice planet as well. Which is interesting. And everyone's like, oh, that's not how it works in real life. And it kind of, when you look at it, apart from Earth, it kind of is, though. Like, Mars looks very similar on all sides. The temperature fluctuates, but not, the farther away you are from the sun, the less drastic the temperature fluctuations are. I mean, they're still as drastic from one side of the planet as they would be to the other side, but I don't know. I guess that when people look at me and they're like, oh, it's a single biome, that's not realistic. I guess I kind of have to look at it and be like, isn't it, though? I mean, look at Mars, look at Jupiter, look at, these planets that are just the entire way around, just rock. Dust and dirt, no water. Not to mention, I guess that makes me wonder where they were getting water on, like, Jakku and stuff. Are there, like, deep well springs beneath the sand, or did they just import their own water from water? Now I'm curious, because it doesn't really speak on that. Like, Kamino's got enough water for multiple planets. Also, I'm using a sonic, for anybody who's watching, who's curious, I'm using a sonic emitter to knock these guys out. I don't think it kills them, I think it just knocks them out, but no force power, so I have unlimited uses of that. This is the slow part. There's another part like this that's slow on the, there's another slow part like this on the second game, but I think they learned their lesson and made it faster than this slow, which I'm okay with. Come here. Come here. Okay. Yeah, and I where I live over here, speaking of hot, I mean, it's just, I've had enough of heat. I'm excited for autumn and winter. Because it wasn't, honestly, to be fair, it wasn't awful in terms of the maximum temperature. We've had summers where 115 Fahrenheit isn't, and when I'm saying 115 Fahrenheit, we're talking about like the high 40s Celsius, high 40s Celsius, at the very least. It may even be, I'm not 100% positive, 48, 49, maybe even 50 degrees Celsius. There's this, did I go the wrong way? What did I do? I feel like I went the wrong way because I feel like I need to go, I feel like there's another outside. It's hot here too. Not sure how hot, but yeah. Well, and I feel bad too because I learned that a lot of the, and yet again, it may not be your case there, but a lot of UK homes don't have central heating and air, and it's kind of the open a window, turn on a fan type thing. Whereas here, at least we have central heating or central air, excuse me, and so there's nice cool air conditioning in addition to whatever we have. I'm not a heat guy at all. I'll sit there in shorts and no shirt in the winter. I hate the heat. Same situation. I am not a heat fan. That's the facility right there I need to be. That's the piece right there. What am I missing? I'm missing something. I think I need to go into this station. I think it's adjacent to that. But yeah, I agree. I'm also not a heat guy. I don't like it. I'm sorry I'm walking so slow. I can't go any faster than this, so I do apologize. Open window, turn on a fan. In my case, too, is literally this house. Yeah, that was kind of a shocker to me to hear that there wasn't central heating and air. And I don't. Is there any? I have to ask. Is there any particular reason that most of the homes don't have it, or? Is it? I mean, I don't guess I understand why that's the case. Or is it like a national maintenance of electricity? Is it you know? I don't understand it. I mean, to be completely honest, generally here, I mean, you would be a little harder. I mean, unless you're getting an older home, you'd be a little harder pressed not to find central heating and air. Excuse me 1 second, if I may. Had to make a quick adjustment there. Sorry about that. Not that I know of. It's usually quite cold over here all the time, besides a couple of months, but those couple of months are bad. We ain't used to it. And I guess that makes sense if the temperature is, you know, but here, so I'm in Texas, you know, and in Texas, Texas is one of the, Texas is really interesting in that it's kind of a multi-sphere of weather, but where I am is kind of the desert part of it, or one of the desert parts of it. Now, of course, the westernmost part, such as like El Paso, is probably much. I mean, it's infinitely more desert than where I am. But yeah, it's very flat, very dry, very hot, and it's about that way for. I think they start sucking the air out of this thing. All right, I'm gonna do it.
No, you can't come in here.
But yeah, it gets to be.
No, stay out! Stay out! I won't let you open the door for those monsters to get in. I'll stop you. I'll suck all the pressure out of the chamber. That'll stop you.
Kill them! Kill them!
Okay, let's see if I can do this. Okay. Well, that was actually easier than I remember.
No.
Let's say.
I'm sorry for what I.
We're both just.
I think if I've got to be a bad guy, I'm gonna take him out.
Sammy and me.
We thought I must have been his.
I'm Kono. No. Look, I'm sorry. I am just.
Kono, don't talk to him like that.
Doesn't matter. You can't just suffocate a person to death.
We don't know.
The work teams were out.
This mom.
It was a Firaxis.
It was like it was.
Then it was like.
Well,
So we know the Selkath have gone crazy. That's interesting.
Like why it react, and also.
and all those other
Which would be why they. That would be
out there.
Okay, that's fine. That's all right.
Firaxis sharks.
We were working on.
Oh, I think not.
No, it's not. The repellent we
I need
the
to
one we
just-
tested instead was violently toxic to them.
Which is exactly what we need in this situation. Something to kill that monster shark that destroyed our station.
But we don't know how else the chemical reacts. We only tried it in a.
We know exactly what it'll do. It'll kill the shark. You don't need to do anything else. All you need to do.
I gotta remember exactly what to do here.
Well, the
monster seems to have been driven out by the machinery we installed. I think if you could... You can reprogram the harvesting machines to overpressure their self-oxidizing... The hydrolium...
I do know that if I get dark side points for poisoning the shark, but...
What? No! Run, Kono! He's one...
I'll make them up here. All right. I know I get dark side points. Can I pick this up? No. I get dark side points for poisoning the shark, but I also, if I can't defend myself, get killed by the courthouse. So I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, it's generally it's really hot here. I think it's more hot often than not. I think it's about. I want to say maybe 6 to 8 months of hot. And then the remainder of it will be, cold. And then if it's really cold, like, for example, it was super hot last year and 109 Fahrenheit or so. And then February hits and all of a sudden now it's frozen over and so much that breaks our power plants. Which was interesting. Not good, but interesting. And then our electric bills went up quite a lot. Like, excessively and unfairly. But, oh well. Kill everyone. Yeah, yeah. This, like I said, this is the most tedious world. I honestly think Tatooine is a lot less tedious, and then going into my favorite, which is Korriban, there is some tedium to it, but it's super cool, and I have a lot of lore that I can share on that one. I'll just do this one. I have to remember. I need to get it to 3 of 3 and 5 of 5 Sangan. So fill that. That puts it to 3 of 3. Wouldn't it make more sense for... Oh, you know what? I messed up already. Dump. I think I would fill the container pod. If I dump it to the injector pod, then that gives me 3 of 3 and 2 of 5, and then I can just fill 3 of 5 with the container pod. Oh, I have to overfill it. Dang it. Okay. I'll dump the injector pod. And I need to do it backwards. Let me abort. Okay. Try again. This time what I would do, hydro unstable at 4 million Sangan would rupture. Okay. So I need to dump the container pod, fill the injector pod, transfer the injector to the container, fill the injector again, and then transfer again, and then how would I do that? I'm gonna give it a shot again. Oh, I needed it 4. Oh, that's why. I needed it 4 instead of 5. That doesn't make sense though. Okay, so how would I do that? I guess I would fill the container pod, which gives me 5 of 5. Then I would transfer it to the injector, which would give me 2 of 5. Then I would dump the injector pod. I don't understand. Transfer from container to injector. Fill the container pod. Oh, and then I could transfer. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Couldn't figure out what I was trying to accomplish there. that made more sense. It was saying 4, and I was trying to think the injector pod needed to be at 4 because it can only hold 3. I was sitting there going, I think the container pod can hold 5, so why would it rupture at 4 if 5's capacity? Learn that I may possibly have to start taking insulin for nothing confirmed yet. Need some blood tests and other. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope that everything goes well, though. Please let me know if there's anything I can do to help. I don't know that there is, but if there is, I would certainly be happy to. The doctor said the way I described things mean I could be possibly type 1 now, which is worse than 2. I understand. I don't know. I don't have experience with the differences between the two. I am familiar with what the differences between the two are, but I don't know in terms of scale. I don't guess I understand the depth of that, but I certainly do hope that everything is okay. All right. And now we've seen our star map. We're just going to go regroup with the others. We'll go back to the surface and we'll finish our court case. And then I think I'll probably call that a stream. I had a lot of fun. I was wanting to do, these planets are a lot more, they're a lot bigger and a lot more, like I said, the tedious ones I did first. So I did Kashyyyk, which is fairly tedious, and then this one. Tatooine, however, is not as tedious, and thankfully so. And then of course, Korriban. Now, there's something else that I'll have to do, which is a little. It's also not very tedious, but it's a little difficult. But yeah, I probably will do that. Yeah. If there's anything I can do to help, please let me know. I don't. That's not a fun thing to have to deal with for certain. And I know we've got some really cool stuff coming up. I actually should mention that as well. I'll mention it here if it's okay if I do so formally. There's been a big, I won't speak to the specifics of it just because we are working on it, but for anybody who watches this later, as well as anybody who's tuned in now, who are not, of course, myself or Mr. AR, we do have some really cool stuff. Love the stream, man. You're one of the only channels I really watch when it comes to streams now. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. That does mean a lot to me. I don't get to stream as often as I used to, and I am just flattered and appreciative that anyone still gets to come or still comes and visits and watches and all that. So I really appreciate it. I did come into a different door, but we're all good here at least. But Mr. AR and I have some really cool stuff coming down the pipe that I'm super excited about. I think we're actually going to be, if everything goes well, we'll be doing some tests early next week, later on this week, depending on how your definition of the week is. And hopefully we'll be bringing you some really awesome stuff in the next coming weeks. That's what we're hoping for. So hope anybody who watches this, like I said, if you're watching it now or if you do happen to watch it in the future, please keep your ear to the ground for that, because I'm actually quite excited about it. Especially after having gotten to speak with you on this, and then knowing kind of what we're aiming to do with that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm actually very excited about it. So, life takes over, man. It happens to all of us. That's why I'm getting a bunch of things sorted finally, so I can figure things out and get back to working on things. I understand, and at the same time, life hits everybody differently and in different ways at different times. So I completely get it. My hope was that in taking this new job, that I would introduce. Firstly, I have an admiration for academia of any kind. I enjoy learning new things, and teaching, if anyone decides they want to learn, is, I think, the ultimate form of learning. There's that, and then on top of that, I hoped to introduce a level of normality to my schedule, was my hope. And so yeah, that's kind of the idea. And so in this case, I'm gonna, I'll have weekends. I should have weekends off. I should have certain holidays off, etc., which I wouldn't have normally had. And I'm also hoping for this, to be completely fair, to be a a stepping stone in a career path that follows the, like I said, the academics aspect of things, just because of the respect I have for it and the desire I have to be enveloped in that. And that means that I can help work with Mr. AR to bring you guys some really awesome stuff.
You've returned. I was beginning to fear that you too might have been lost. Did you find out what had happened? Insane. They killed everyone? Something was down there? It's horrible. What has happened to the... Well, that's good to know. Good to know indeed. No, that is terrible. That will set our work back...
He sounded really worried about it, didn't he?
May even cost us the war. While I am glad that you were able to solve our problems, the cost may have ended up being much too high. But you have done your job and helped us in our time of need. Oh, and as you can see, by helping us, you helped...
That's kind of a smarmy thing to say. As you can see. No, don't. That's... I only helped you because I knew that I was going to help myself. I know that sounds a little cocky. That's not how I am really, but I get frustrated when you have those guys that are like, aha, because you did what I said, you got what you wanted. No, that's not why. I did what you said because I knew it would lead to the thing I wanted. It wasn't as a consequence of obedience. Jeez. Now I'm all riled up because of a fictitious character with a fictitious war faction. You'll never take me alive. No, I'm not going to do that. I have to come along peacefully. I've got to head out, man. Getting late. I'm sure my brain will keep me awake for another 2 hours anyway. Have a good night. Great stream as always. Speak soon. Absolutely. Hey, have a great night. And yeah, I hope we talk very soon. We actually will get to talk very soon if you still have time later this week. So, but yeah. I hope you get to feeling better. And if there's anything I can do in the interim, let me know, please. So now their neutrality is threatened. They're worried about that. But I did something good. I'm not going to force persuade. That'll get me killed. Well, these judges do not agree with each other. The progenitor. Why couldn't I say that word? The progenitor. Goodness. The progenitor. Put the long emphasis on the wrong syllable. Thank you too. Oh, of course. Of course. And so we earned their respect, which I like a lot. And that gives us the extra star map. And we don't actually technically have to finish his case, which I cannot remember for the life of me the dark side way to do it. I remember the light side way to do it. The light side way to do it is, well, it gives me a lot of light side points, so it doesn't really make sense to do it. Where's Jolie? He's way over there. Why'd you stay with him? But the light side way to do it is, you know, there's evidence that shows that there was more going on, and I have to bring that to light. However, I don't want to do that because I get light side points for it. So I think instead what I will do is leave it alone for right now, because if I lose the case, if I mess up, misstep, and lose the case, I get killed. That's just an instant death, game over, start over, you're done. And I don't particularly want to do that, and I don't imagine you guys would want that either. So I'm going to head back out of Manon. This does have the most soothing music for me, though. This is the song. The track is called Auto City, AHTO. And it's just so relaxing. I really love it. Jeremy Soule did the music for this. He also has done, for anyone who's curious and wondering about... I love game composers. And for anybody who's curious or wondering about his game compositions, He's also responsible for having done Jade... no, he didn't do Jade Empire. Jack Wall did that. He's also responsible for having done most of the Elder Scrolls. So, wait. Oop, not my bay. He was responsible for having done Skyrim, Oblivion, Morrowind, those games as well. I was going to say he had done Jade Empire, but that was Jack Wall, the same composer who did the Mass Effect soundtracks. Also, by the way, an amazing soundtrack, though. That's fine. That's fine. I don't think this is my bay. I think... Again. Nope. Random Sith Bay. I come in, I'm just looking for my ship. These guys just attack me off the bat. I mean, it's not that you're not a good fighter with a sword, but like I've got a lightsaber and that goes through most swords most of the time. In the old canon, you had I'm trying to think of what it was called. Now I can't remember what it was called. Can I take their ship? Oh, I can take their transport to the... This is that transport I could take to the Sith base. Ah. I don't need it. What is the... I'm trying to think. Cortosis. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Cortosis was the material used to that in the old canon lightsabers wouldn't go through, or they wouldn't go through easily. Now, I don't think Cortosis has been recanonized, but now from the Mandalorian, we know that Beskar steel is, at least for the most part, Season 2, we know that it's very lightsaber resistant, which I find to be a little bit interesting, honestly. I think that's cool, but I do find it to be interesting. Alright, let's see. I think we might have been over by the Republic side of things. Nubasa. I love how we have to be told every single time that the cameras are being deactivated. Don't we all love that? All right. I just have to be careful because it turns the camera, reorients the camera in a way that faces away, so that if I hit it again, it's like, cameras are reactivated. You're back in the city. Congratulations. I'm like, nah. All right, I'm gonna run at a brisk pace. We're gonna land on Tatooine, and then I'll call it. I will need to do some conversations as well, so I'll probably skip through a lot of those, but when I get there, I'll do a lot of the conversations. For anybody who's curious, like I said, there is a development that occurs through different characters, and as you become closer with them, that happens.
Nord is dead, Lord Malak. He has failed in his mission. Forgive me.
The penalty for failure is death, Admiral Kareth. But the failure was Kalos.
It's an interesting military procedure to just bow on your knees. Both knees, rather.
Stand against a Jedi. I shall not make the same mistake again. My apprentice, Darth Bandon, shall take care of our young Jedi friend.
And Bandon has to show off that he's just a jerk. Which he shows off well. He just pushes one of his own crew into another and they die.
Bring her to me, alive, if possible.
As you command, Master.
I think the cinematics are really pretty. I think that they do here. I mean, granted, they're not perfect. You can definitely see they've aged the infrastructure, but like the skyboxes, the space area, all that, it's really, really neat, I think. Although the graphics that they'll be able to put on this new one, I think, will be amazing. I am also curious as to if they'll maintain its turn-based combat, or if they'll decide instead to move into a more real-time.
You felt it, yes. Tatooine is known for little...
For, you know, push X or push...
The star map,
pull trigger.
No doubt things will become...
Alright, so I think that that's good right there. I think we're going to call it. So let me go ahead and I'm going to get us moved over to the ending screen here. Let's see if I can do that. There we go. And we'll get you guys some music as best as I can. There we go. Now again, I want to say thank you to everybody who showed up on the stream. We had a ton of people. We had this is the most I've ever had on stream at any given time. I think is 9 or 10 people, and we had 8 or 9 people almost the whole first like half of things. So I really want to say thank you for everybody who showed up and decided to come out and say hi, watch the stream. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it's a little bit slower paced game, but I just enjoy playing it and hanging out with you guys. I mean, that's really what it's about. It's not about playing the newest or flashiest game or sticking to a theme. It's really just about playing a game that I enjoy, talking with the community, and hanging out. That's really all it's there for. So I hope you guys had as much fun hanging out with me as I did hanging out and speaking with you guys. I definitely want to give a special thank you to everybody, though, who did show up. Like I said, AR, Video Games for Fun, or Vidi, Thumb Brothers obviously showed up. Zombie dropped in for a minute. Hapes dropped in for a minute and said hi. Quesadilla Padilla dropped in for a minute to say hi. I hope I'm not missing anyone. Let me take a look and see if I missed. I don't want to miss anybody because it was amazing. I know I think I had a couple of people lurking. For those of you who were lurking and I couldn't hear or see you, please know that I'm really appreciative that you showed up. Gib, of course, Gib84 showed up as well. So just so many awesome people that showed up and said hi, left likes or whatever. It's never been and it never will be about whether or not I'm getting likes or subscribes or any of that. It's not about the view count, but it is really flattering and humbling in a lot of ways to have people that come in and want to hang out and spend some time, part of their day with you. I think that that's just an amazing thing. So thank you guys all so much for that. I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. Hope to get to talk to you guys again soon. Hope to get to stream again soon. And otherwise, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.